approved by both, the Governor Baker, and Governor Healy through March 31st, 2025. As I said, it's a public meeting. It's being recorded, as you just heard. And I'm stalling time for Blair to get to the phone, but welcome everyone who's waiting for Blair Wong. There he is.
Hey.
He showed up. All right. Now we're legally official. All right. Well, thank you. And the first thing, very briefly, would be for Kathy and Blair to motion to accept the minutes, unless you have edits or comments you need to make.
I'll make a motion. I don't have any edits.
I don't either, so I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Yay. I thank
Yay.
everybody. Minutes approved. On to the agenda. Mr. Commissioner, general updates, please.
And good afternoon, everyone. Blair, thank God you saved the day here.
All right.
Now we can be official.
There you go.
So speaking of official, I've had some conversation with the gentleman that's helping to coordinate the additional members for the SAB, and one of the candidates, I guess, had some questions, and she called me and I answered some of her questions. A lot of general stuff. What's the time commitment? How often do we meet? That kind of information. So, but they assure me that they are working on it, and it is moving forward. So we'll hope to hear sometime soon.
You didn't scare her away, Mr. Commissioner, with your answers.
Well, she said she was happy at the end of our conversation. So I think she'll she has more information than she had before. But,
that's the correct answer, I'm sure. Thanks.
John, are there ample candidates for these two openings? Or
yeah, we had five. We had five.
Oh, you have five. Oh, that's great.
Yep. Okay. Well, five resumes were submitted.
Okay.
They are going to vet them and decide what they're looking to do. I guess the administration has hired an additional individual, and his job is going to be mainly to get the seats on the different boards and councils filled. He's also received more candidates for our state rehab council, so he's working on those. So I'm hoping we should have some news in the next month or so.
Great.
And it takes a while.
Thank you.
So on to general MCB operations. So we had a meeting regarding the staff shortage for the orientation and mobility, vision rehab therapists, and vocational counselors are also included in that. We convened a meeting. Kathy and Brian were part of it. We had folks from UMass. We invited Assumption College and Springfield College, but they were not able to attend this particular meeting. So I think we, some of the providers were also at that meeting. We talked about, we all agree that there is a problem, and that we need to come up with better ways to introduce people to the field. And I think that's what we'll be thinking about and working on over the next period of time. We'll probably be meeting possibly quarterly to see what we can do. There are some couple of things that I'll be working on. I'm sure UMass will be doing some things, and our providers will be further thinking and developing ideas. So we'll see how it goes. This is a long-term problem that we've had around for a while, but at some point we really have to pay attention to it, because it will as people continue to leave the field that have been working in the field for a period of time, and new people come in, and if they're not people that have been at the agencies, they're learning from scratch, and it's a much bigger learning curve if you haven't been in the field and don't understand how things go. So, but we'll hopefully over the next year or two, couple of years, we'll be working on some ideas to spread the word about the field and what kind of career this field can provide for those that join it early on in their career, and they can have a good career and also have a very rewarding career in many cases as they serve the people that we are serving in our field. Also, along the same line, I had a meeting with the Mass Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, and the commissioner and his team talking about the shortage of interpreters. Now, that's also an issue that's been around for quite a while. And, we talked about a few different options, but they were very strong on an apprenticeship program for interpreters. So they're going to look at the funding options. They thought there was some a pot of money that might help to fund that apprenticeship. And we're going to be doing a couple of things here at MCB to try to get additional information. And we'll get back together again and see what we can work out. The government, the administration's currently, they're very strong on apprenticeships, training people to do specific jobs without actually having to obtain degrees in that specific field. So an apprenticeship is a good idea. But again, this interpreter issue has been around for a long time. It will take us a bit of time to get to a point where we have a decent concept and are able to reach out to get more individuals interested in being interpreters. So are there any questions on any of those items before I move on to the next?
I just have a comment, which is
Sure.
great, like cross collaboration and tackling issues in a practical way. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
great.
I think we're going to need more as we research more and come up with other ideas. I think we're going to need more. I will probably bring this up at the organization that works with agencies that serve the blind, national organization, and talk with them about what they're doing. Maybe we can make this a much larger program as we go forward. But we'll start here and take care of what we can do here at home, and then sort of introduce the idea to other states.
I just
So
have a
the,
question, if I
yeah,
could. So I know it's not your agency, but are the interpreters all like staff, or is there an on-call list as well that are part-time or something like that?
No, so the interpreters are all freelancers.
Yeah, all of them are then.
So basically,
I don't know if
they're
there'd
on
be
a
one or two that was in-house, something like that.
Yeah, there might be one or two that the Commission of Deaf and Hard of Hearing retains, but the majority the register is kept. And when someone needs an interpreter, they call the Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing.
Yeah.
They put it out there, and then they pick it up. The ones they choose the jobs they want, basically.
Yeah.
And so that's how it goes. And they can work one job a day, or they can work several, depending if it's a full day. Most of them will take that job, and then if it's 2 hours here and an hour there, that becomes a little harder to get for them to take, because it doesn't fill up the whole day for them. But they do the best they can, and it's just getting more people again interested in it and learning the skill, and see if they can. It could be a good part-time job. It could also be a very good full-time job. So there seems to be plenty of work. Doesn't seem to be. It's just there's the demand appears to be larger than the amount of available contractors to fill the demand. So we have to see if we can bring more of these interpreters, get the training, and bring them into the mix here.
Well, it's a good overall plan for any area, really. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the apprenticeship might be, if we can pull that off, might be a good start, and maybe even combining with a community college to pull that in, part of the internship. There's ideas floating around, so we'll see what happens there. So I was invited to speak at the Boston Tax Coalition. It's a opportunity for us. We collaborated. They provide free tax preparation for individuals who are low income, but in our case, they're going to be providing individuals who are low income, making less than $70,000, and are legally blind residents of Boston. So we've provided. So this is a second year we've partnered with them, and last year worked out well. They were very pleased. They're also partnering with the Commission for the Deaf in providing some services for individuals who are deaf, who need their tax returns prepared. So we provided some training. We're lending some video magnifiers for them to them, so that they can accommodate anyone that is able to use some vision when they come into the office. So therefore, this worked out very well. We had a little kickoff ceremony at the China Trade Center next to the MCB Boston office. There was individuals from Social Security Administration, which obviously funds this program so that the cities can offer this type of free income tax preparation. The people working it are volunteers, but obviously there's an administrative component that has to be funded. So, but it worked out very well. There's the room at the China Trade was full. Lots of individuals there. Some city councilors dropped by. So Mayor Michelle Wu was supposed to drop in, but she got hung up on something else. So she sent someone else to in her place. So, but
Blair, you had a question?
Yeah.
Blair, did you have a question earlier?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were saying something earlier.
No.
Okay. So that's basically, again, another good collaboration, working with another community, and anybody who's out there listening and knows individuals who live in the city of Boston. This might be a good opportunity to get and is looking for some free tax preparation services. If they earn under 70,000, they can certainly take advantage of it.
Just for clarity, could I ask, is it City of Boston, or is it also part of the Greater Boston, like, like Alston or Brighton or anything like that?
I think it's the communities of Boston. The center that has the equipment that we loaned is based to be used is based in Roxbury. They have a variety of locations. The location that has the equipment is the location in Roxbury. So
okay.
The others have gotten training, but would just receive the assistance from folks that are volunteering at that center. They would not have access to a video magnifier so that they could sort of monitor the preparation of the returns.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So there was we had a report. The Carroll Center and MCB and Perkins participated in a meeting reviewing they call it the big data report, that reviewing information regarding people who are legally blind in the Commonwealth, 65 and older. So a lot of that data was may have been new to some people, but it was interesting. It was collected and it's available to the general public now. And they're doing the same project on working age people who are blind here in the Commonwealth. They're doing it across the country, but they are focusing on each state and asking organizations in those states if they will assist with funding the project. It's sort of a fee for training or for information. Then they will present the data based on what was learned about in your state. So that's we sat in on that. They're going to be offering that data to our staff at our vocational rehabilitation counselors meeting later this month in February, and we'll see if we get any other additional information. We keep a lot of the information on our central register, so some of the data is like which county has individuals that a larger number of legally blind individuals, which and the age range of the individuals and the towns that individuals live in. We can gather a lot of that data from our central register, but it is most states. As a matter of fact, I think only 2 states have what they call a register, but none of them is really as detailed as ours is. So most states, a lot of this data would be new and would be important to help plan their programs. Not that we don't, we participated in it. We think it can be helpful. We'll combine any data we get from that with the data that we have internally to continue to plan our programming, as I'm sure the Carroll Center and Perkins will do the same. And
John, what's the name of the organization that is coordinating that nationwide?
It's the Service Alliance.
Vision
Okay.
Service Alliance, yeah.
Yeah. So that's who sort of has been
Thank you.
responsible to get this. The National Industries for the Blind is out of Virginia, is again continuing to move their entrepreneurship program forward. We are going to be participating for the 3rd year. We currently have 4 candidates that are on a road to entrepreneurship. As many of you know, it's a long and slow road in some cases. But I wouldn't say that any of them are making any money yet. They've received a lot of training. They're learning about how government works as far as obtaining contracts through the government. It's been more of an educational process, making sure their skills are up to speed, and trying to come up with ideas and products to start their business. NIB is also offering access to their database of products. But again, it's a slow process, and we'll see where it takes us, and we'll see how it goes. What else? We continue to plan our internship program. Continue to plan for our pre-employment transition conference for teachers of the visually impaired and orientation mobility instructors. So the general operations continue to go forward. We continue to operate in a good fiscal way. We're managing the funds that we have very actively and very closely. We're operating under the continuing resolutions that has been continue to be put forth by the federal government. So the budget is coming in slowly. Again, as because a full year budget hasn't been approved, they're dispersing the grant portions in a much smaller amount than they would under a regular fully approved, fully passed budget. So we continue to work on that, and that it's going well. And
Do you want to
service.
just talk about
Yeah.
the governor's budget quickly too for 25?
Yeah, that was my next thing.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
So that's going well, and the work continues on the governor's budget. So the process, as you know, is again another process that takes us right up until July, when the governor will sign the budget, or usually signs the budget in July. So the governor put out her version of the budget, and she gave us an increase to cover wages, Chapter 257 increases. So it took us up to $28.2 million. That's an increase over last year, but it is level funded because the increase is that of the employee costs that I mentioned and the Chapter 257 raises. So it's a level funded budget, as they refer to it as. So we continue to work on that. Some testimony. I have to do some testimony coming up later this month. We have to meet with different committees if called upon, and we're following the process and going through as it is. So right now we are looking like we're in good shape. Some of you may realize that that's a little smaller than the final state budget of last year, but it's not smaller. The only reason it appears to be smaller is that earmarks are not included in the $28.2 million that I mentioned. So the earmarks are something that the agency is not involved with. That does not appear in the governor's budget. Those are primarily removed. So we did receive an additional $250,000, part of that $28.2 million, to retain the staff that we received funding for last year through union intervention or advocacy from MCB for MCB. So the union was able to get 3 additional positions, funding for those. So those were, because obviously positions are ongoing, they will be funded or were funded in the fiscal year 25 budget. So we have 2 of those positions filled, and I believe interviewing for the 3rd position will begin soon. So it's been hard to fill those positions because of, again, the shortage that we talk about and getting a number of qualified candidates that would fit the agency's and the consumer's needs. So, but we do have 2 of those positions filled and are working on the 3rd one. The 3rd one is, I think we're in a 2nd posting. And we still have a vacant orientation and mobility position that is not a new position. It's been with us for a long time, but I think it's on its 3rd or 4th posting. We cannot find someone that's qualified to provide that service. So hopefully some people coming out of UMass or in May will be looking for a job here in Massachusetts and will apply for that opportunity. So But other than personnel is holding well, we are filling positions, although it's taking a while. We are moving forward and have increased the number of positions here at MCB through some managing. We have added a new position, a coordinator to assist in our policy unit. And various other positions are being evaluated and have been others that were vacant have been filled. So things are coming along, and we'll go from there. So let me, if anybody has any questions, I can take them now, or I'd like to go over to Nate so he can give you the rundown of the figures. And we're going to give you an update on the dashboard too. Nate will provide that to you.
Sounds good.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon.
Hi, Nate.
Nate.
Hello. I'm going to give a quick update of the dashboard first. We put out a bid for the dashboard. We put out RFR for the dashboard. The bids came in. We received a couple bids and chose a company called Zaragon. And we're currently working with them, kind of getting the money and the plan to where it needs to be as far as what we're spending on the project. So passing some information back and forth at this point. They know exactly what we want. The top of our list is accessibility for this project. So we want to make sure that it is accessible with any type of software that people are using to go through it. So excited about getting it started. They're pretty confident that they can do it pretty quickly as well. So we're hoping that it will be available by this summer, and we'll be rolling it out then.
Nate, what was the name of the vendor?
It's Zaragon, Zaragan.
Okay.
And let's see. I'm going to share my screen and share the latest stats, our dashboard for this, not to be confused. And again, like the last few months, not a lot of big changes here. We did roll into a new year, so we already had, at the end of January, we already had 188 registrations come through the door for this year. So quite a few to start the year off. Currently, there is, as of this morning, there was only 5 registrations in process. The couple came in last night, so the oldest ones we had were from yesterday. Not a lot of changes in the open SR and children's cases. They went up slightly. SR children cases going up 3 from 857 to 860. SR adults went up to 15 for a total of 2,175. And we dropped 42 cases in the DDS unit down to 1,096. Same thing with open VR cases, not a lot of changes here. 733 VR adults currently open, 201 people in the TRIETS program, and 14 transition youth out there being worked with. So again, very small changes there. Closed SR, SRC cases, so SR children cases and SR adults. We had 8 children cases closed so far this year, 320 adults, so quite a few cases. Looked like a few caseworkers at the change of the new year, their New Year's resolution must have been to clean up their caseloads, because we had quite a couple people had quite a few closures. Currently at 78 successful closed VR cases for the fiscal year and 61 unsuccessful. We got 334 people that were referred to support services in the first month here. This is, again, assistive technology, rehabilitation, teaching, or orientation and mobility. And for auxiliary services, this is through the central registration. We already did 712, and this is the end of January, so not counting the first week of February. 712 certificates of blindness, 79 IDs, 20 EDPs, and 2 placards. So we are rolling there as well. So had a busy month for the first month of the year, but I think I went back and looked at some of the historical data for January, and it's kind of in line. I think with the holidays, people kind of hold off for the last month. We're probably getting out there in January, and so it pushes the numbers up a little bit for us. And of course, the turnover of the calendar year sparks a lot of certificate of blindness requests from folks. So that's where we are with our statistics currently.
Nate, this is Brian. Do we have any, or John, whoever it falls with, any movement on the all consumer report or the strategic mapping as far as those areas go?
Yeah, the all consumer survey report, we just responded to a series of questions from the Secretariat, and it sounds like it's really close. We'll be excited to share that with you guys hopefully soon. It seems like, and John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like we will hopefully have that by the next meeting where we can share that. And if not by then, I'm sure certainly by the one after. As far as the strategic mapping goes, I've been working with some of the consultants and what our reporting structure for that's going to be. We are going to have quarterly meetings with the team from the Secretariat and to report on how we're doing with various objectives that we have and talking about our progress, and the executive staff and the regional directors are going to be meeting later this week to kind of discuss exactly how we're going to do some of those things and how we're going to report on them and what we need further and what we need to adjust as far as maybe tweaking some of these points of progress going forward and how we're going to show that we are making progress. Some of our objectives have longer runways than others, and we want to be sure that we are showing progress each time we're talking. So that's where we are with that. But it started. A lot of our objectives we're starting to roll out. John mentioned the hiring of a policy coordinator. That was a piece of it for our policy review and those type of things. So we're moving forward with everything that's on there, and we'll I think after we go through the first meeting with the reporting out, we can kind of share some of the things that some of the spots that we're at with the various projects.
Thank you.
Can we have access to that strategic map or plan, or is that something that you're not able to share with the advisory committee or board?
John, I think we can. I'm pretty sure we can share pieces of it.
I think so.
Yeah, I'll double check. I honestly don't know what the.
I have a meeting with the secretary tomorrow. I'll ask, but I don't think it would be an issue at all.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing in there that's.
I'll find out. Yeah, there's nothing in there that's confidential in any way. It's certainly just provides direction to the agency. So, but we'll check. Most of the agencies are rolling it out internally, because the whole objective is right now to make sure that the staff internally understands what we're trying to do, and so that we can all be together in meeting these goals. This is not from the top. We're going to do this. It's a matter of we need to bring everybody on board. That's throughout the agency, and so that's where we're rolling it out in different layers. All of the staff knows about it in general. Nate is going to be meeting with the directors on how to get to the certain points that we're looking, maybe different strategies, get strategies from them, how they think we can get to that point. We've during the building of it, we had a variety of different staff providing their feedback. So it's sort of a long-term project, and they have a consultant on board that's going to be not only meeting with us on a quarterly basis, they're going to be also supporting us throughout the process. So whenever we have questions or we need any assistance from them, we'll call, and this consultant will be there to help us get us out of any areas we may be stuck in. So
That's great.
I think all the agencies are moving sort of slowly with this, not slowly, but I sort of going in this way, because this is not a 50-yard dash. This is more like a marathon.
Right.
Over several years is where we expect it to hit these objectives. So that's pretty much there's a process that we're going to be following over the next several years.
Yeah, I think it would be great for this board to, have some more insight into, your strategic thinking. And I think we would be considered internal versus external, right? Aren't we considered like employees, special employees of MCB as advisory board members? Not compensated, but right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of any agencies talking about releasing it to their boards yet, but we will. I'll find out tomorrow. I have a meeting. Is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow. No, it's a week from tomorrow. But we'll ask, and we'll
we
get
appreciate you asking, John. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see the general objectives and the kind of structure of it. We're not trying to get into the weeds of every objective you guys have.
I mean, we have the mission statement up on the website, so the stuff that's public already. A few words were changed, and but we're still following the similar mission that what we're following before, still serving the same population. So, and then we'll release the other parts as it goes forward.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you, Kathy, for asking. Okay. Anything else? So we can go to the public if there's questions and comments. Does anyone from the public raise your hands, and we'll look and see, or speak out since no one's raising hands? Oh, there's one. Sharon?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm calling in from Worcester, and I was interested in what John was saying about the tax preparation in Boston. I've been trying to reach out to learn what's available to blind people here in Worcester, and honestly, I haven't had much success. So I'm wondering if you could tell me if the name of the company is if they're just Boston based.
Yeah, I think they contract throughout the state.
Is it Vita?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sharon, I'll try to get some information to see what's available in Worcester. We were primarily talking. It's the Boston Tax, Health Coalition. So we were talking primarily about the Boston area.
Sure.
So I'll see what's available out in Worcester. Different groups often are available to do this. I know Catholic Charities at one time was involved in this, and some of the senior centers were involved in providing free tax services. So let me, I'll check around.
Okay, I left a message with the Worcester Community Action Council because that's where they are to be housed. And I left a message on one of the extensions, but I haven't had a call back. And people have asked me about it. And you're right, we used to have it at the library actually, and have had a senior center too.
Very popular. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
I'll check around. If I find anything, I'll get it out to you. If you find anything, then if you find it yourself, that's great.
Great. Thank you.
No.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon. I don't so much have a question, but it's more of a comment and a possible suggestion. So several months ago, the commissioner spoke at a conference of ours, and the same question came up about recruitment for filling staff positions. And it's something that obviously our community has been talking about. And so I've been kind of contemplating it, and and maybe this is already being talked about amongst our staff. But as we know, how important social media is to our young people, specifically, not so much Facebook, but certainly Instagram and TikTok. And I'm just wondering if the possibility of a campaign in which we hire, MCB would hire a social media consultant that would work on promoting these kind of positions through these kind of types of social media to kind of reach, those young people to kind of contemplate as they age, and think about a career path, that this is a field that might be of interest in kind of promoting it. Just a thought.
That idea is been talked about. It's a very good thought. Obviously, we have to start somewhere, because if you ask anybody who's 18, 19, 15 years old, and if they're not blind, you ask them, what does an orientation mobility instructor do? They wouldn't be able to tell you what that is. And so you're right. It is going to be an education campaign. We've talked about it, but you mentioned the word hire. So in government and any agency, you always have to find out where that money is going to come from to hire this individual.
Mhm.
So that's the idea that is definitely needed. And the social media is not free. So yeah, that has to be paid for. So it will be the funding that will help move those ideas forward. And I have a couple of ideas in mind. We'll kick those around and see if they can be funded. But yes, that's a very good idea, and we are definitely looking forward to trying to do something in that space and somewhere down the road here.
Thanks, John. One other thought too is, with people like, who are RTs and all the VR counselors, and just, is it possible to just do talks at high schools and middle schools to kind of introduce, this kind of field of work to them, by actually, I want to say like a, like show and tell kind of thing, but you know what I'm saying.
No, that's
to just
another idea that's been talked about, and
Okay.
we're going to be implementing some of that. But again, this will be another long-term process. But we will be looking at career fairs and different sort of situations that we can continue to spread the word about the career opportunities that are available in the field. And I think if we can work on it here, it's not just here. Every state, I think, in the country, I would say, is having this sort of issue of finding the qualified individuals or people with credentials to work in this field. Also, it's it could be internships, it could be apprenticeships, it could be other ways that we could get people to a point where they at least can get into the field and get certification as they move forward, come in at a certain level and then upgrade that level with a certification program. So, yep, those ideas are all being talked about, and we will continue to work on them.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I think that's so far. Any other questions or comments for anyone?
I just want to thank you, John, for keeping us updated on those opportunities to participate in job opportunities. And sorry I wasn't able to attend, but I appreciate Kathy and Brian attending. And as a college educator, I'd be very interested in. So if you have those meetings on a quarterly basis,
we'll continue to
keep
send
up
out
in mind.
Yep, we'll continue to send out the email to the SABs and different meetings we hold here. And
Great.
if you're available, feel free to join.
And
Dina.
thank you, Nona, for your question.
Sorry about
That's
that.
great.
Dina, I see your hand is up too.
Great.
Thank you, Brian. So just two things. I was in the meeting with John about the professional recruitment. ACVRP, who's our national organization that provides certification for O&M and low vision RTs, just launched a digital campaign for recruitment for blindness professionals. So that's happening kind of almost in the invisible background. And that's exciting because they got private funding to do that over a 3-year period. So it'll be interesting when they start to have statistics to share that. But speaking of statistics, John or Nathan, are you collecting information about MCB clients relative to additional disabilities or challenges? We certainly at the Carroll Center are always monitoring the clients and their needs. And of course, looking at the increase of students with CVI who are now becoming adults, clients whose vision loss as a result of brain injury or brain tumor, of course, the additional needs of mental health that our consumers are seeing. But I'm just curious whether there's any data that's being gathered to kind of support what we're seeing. Thanks.
Hi, Dina. Yes, there is data that we gather. Part of our case management is identifying any other disabilities that our consumer might have to help provide support for them. As far as the CVI stuff goes too, we did do a project a few years back at looking at the CVI, how providers diagnose it and when it's appropriate to register somebody with CVI with us. Obviously, that is a complication because there's no structural damage with that diagnosis, and it's really how they present and how they see if they are referred to us or not. So there is still conversation back and forth with providers. I do often get questions from providers about CVI diagnosis in general, but I'm happy to talk about that further offline with you if you want, Tina.
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks, Nathan.
You're welcome. I'll reach out.
Okay. Anybody else? No, your hand's still up. Did you just not put it down? I might have missed that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't put it down. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Just want to make sure it wasn't a new one.
No.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're done a few minutes early. Very good.
Good meeting. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.